You're Scooby-Doo. Honey. I'm Velma. Jinkies, Doctor. Well then, I'm Fred. Hold the phone. Rah, rah. Get ready, 'cause here I come. Ta-da! Rock language. Yeah, but this video isn't exactly made for kids, or at the very least not young little kids. I'd say it's about 10 to 12-ish and up. You know, preteen, young, teenage. God, that's 2 weeks in a row I've said that. Is that going to be my thing now? Don't make me laugh. But yeah, it probably is gonna be, if you keep it up for the next 6 weeks or so. And who may you be, good sir? Or whatever you identify as. I'm Mr. Ring-a-Ding, I make your heart bells sing. Please don't make me laugh, just take my autograph. Now take my jokes, you lovely folks, for I know just one thing, that I am he. Oh yes, I'm Mr. Ring-a-Ding. Rish-a-ring-a-ring, rish-a-ring-a-ring. Mr. Ring-a-Ding. Rah-rah-rim. What a fine and dandy day. And who might you be? I am usually referred to as the Doctor. And this is Belinda. Nice to meet you. And what's your name, good doc? Scooby? Dooby? Doo! Don't make me laugh. That's my rope. Ramas. Don't make me laugh. But you're cartoon characters. Both of you. Even though in this sketch, everybody is in live action. Don't make me laugh! Trudeau, hold on. Is there a reason we shouldn't make you laugh? Don't make me laugh! Because it sounds like this. Ha 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 ha! Zoinks! It's the giggle! Quick, let's get out of here! Jeepers! Woo-woo! Didn't think he had the puppy power, for I am Lux, God of Light. Now, roll 'em! Hello everyone, Nick here, and welcome to my review of Doctor Who Season 2 of the Bad Wolf era, Series 15 of the Revival, and Season 41 overall. Episode 2, Lux. And I'm beaming at ya, as Mr. Ring-a-Ding would say, because this episode is absolutely incredible. This is an amazing one. Literally. This is so great. So the plot of this episode is that the Doctor and Belinda arrive in Miami 1952 to discover a closed cinema. Are you sure it's 1952 and not 2022, Doctor? So the Doctor and Belinda are trying to get back to Belinda's own time of May the 24th, 2025. Hey, that's 3 days after my birthday. And so they've created this device to try and pinpoint a sort of fishnet to try and get back there. So this is probably going to be a reoccurring thing throughout the series until they eventually get back to that day. But whilst they are going to be doing that, they're going to go on their adventures. And in this episode's case, whilst they do that, they discovered the locked cinema. And so they stick around to investigate. After talking with some locals about it, they go inside to see what happened to the missing 15 people inside, and it turns out that the God of Light, Lux, has managed to take over and possess the body of Mr. Ring-a-Ding, a cartoon character from one of the cartoons, and he has taken over the cinema, trapping the 15 people onto celluloid and getting the projectionist / caretaker, Mr. Pye, to play films every night so that he can feed off the light energy. And this is so he can create himself a body so that he can then go outside and become real. And then once he discovers the Doctor is the one who stopped the Toymaker, Maestro, and Sutek in the last series and the 60th specials, he then tries to trap the Doctor and Belinda in the film, but they manage to escape and have to try and stop Lux before he then gets more power and more light so that he can become more real and steal the Doctor's regeneration energy to become, I suppose, become an even bigger god. Yeah, okay, I might have kind of lost where the motivation for that last bit was from. I just watched it last night a second time. Motivation at the end aside, perhaps, I thought this episode was absolutely amazing. The first act is a really great mystery story with the new god, with Lux, who is magnificently brought to life through the animation. It looks absolutely amazing. All of the animation styles for Lux, as well as when they go into the film reel with the Doctor and Belinda being animated, which isn't a spoiler because it was in the trailers. It was one of the main selling points of the episode. And I think it looks absolutely incredible. They've done an incredible job with the animation for Mr. Ring-a-Ding, plus with the animated segments with the Doctor and Belinda. It's magnificent. And also, Alan Cumming returns as a guest actor, previously appearing as King James VI of Scotland / First of England in The Witchfinders, where he was brilliant in that one. And here he is even better as the voice of Mr. Ring-a-Ding in this episode. I adore Mr. Ring-a-Ding. He is an excellent character. He's mostly an antagonist, but there's some times where he does lean into the sort of not entirely antagonistic role. So you get a lot of fun with him across the spectrum of the motivations and characteristics. Like, yeah, he's definitely the bad guy, but he still gets moments where he sometimes tries to play off as innocent or as romantically loving and enjoying what he's doing, or just kind of being cool. Plus also the bits in the cartoon with the original Mr. Ring-a-Ding before he was possessed by Lux. I also want to shout out that they do a really good job of establishing Miami 1952's relation to how they feel about people of colour and how people around them would feel. In this episode, they lean to more on the case of they acknowledge it, that the white people are happy to talk to them about the situation because it's 4 o'clock in the morning and there's a mystery to be solved and there's a lady who's missing her teenage son. So they'll talk to anyone about it. So yeah, there is a bit in when they're in the real where they think they've gone back to the real world, but they haven't really, where a policeman does come and the lady seems to have had a change of heart, but the Doctor notices that, yeah, this is still in the film reel, mainly because the policeman is not from Miami, he's actually from New York. Wrong uniform. But yeah, this was a great scene of tension building there until the Doctor pointed out the lack of continuity, so that was great. Perhaps that policeman came from one of the other films that Mr. Ring-a-Ding was watching. They're watching a Western when we start here, when the Doctor and Belinda arrive, and the other bits are newsreels of the atom bomb, but you know, maybe one of the other films Mr. Ring-a-Ding watched had a policeman from New York. I think what they discuss in this episode regarding that is touched upon well enough. I didn't think it needed to take over the whole episode. It wasn't the point of that, but they touch upon it the right amount for it to say, yes, it takes place in this time period. And with the first non-white TARDIS team, yes, the characters could be in danger, but right now, the white people they do talk to are okay with them hanging about and investigating, and the one bit of them being in serious danger is just part of Mr. Ring-a-Ding's trap. It's not like Rosa where the race issue, or like the Witchfinders where the first episode to have the Doctor in serious danger because of their gender, where those episodes, that was the point of those stories, or part of parts of those stories' points. This episode, it just kind of, it touched upon it and dealt with it in a respectful way without it taking over the narrative. So I appreciate both the acknowledgement but also how much it was used, considering the main focus is on Lux, who is neither black or white, he is blue. Yeah, in Mr. Ring-a-Ding's world, he doesn't discriminate by colour, which makes him based. Another reason why he's such a great character. Oh yeah, and we've also got the really meta scene where the Doctor and Belinda meets the fans, or a trio of Doctor Who fans who are watching their Avengers right there. Oh boy, this scene, this I couldn't believe that they'd done this when I saw this episode. But it's great! I don't know how, but they pulled it off spectacularly. Like with Mr. Ring-a-Ding as a cartoon character, it's a very meta scene. It does stop for a couple minutes to do it, but I'm down with it. I think it's handled fun. My only pointer would be that I think they could have mentioned a couple of other episodes, like when the Doctor's like, "Oh, what's your favourite episode?" And all three of them are like, "Blink." And the Doctor's like, "But what about the one with the goblins? I met the Beatles. I stood on a landmine." We're just covering 3 of 15 stories in his suggestions, and the fans all say Blink. I think we could have had a few other episodes mentioned. Maybe the 15th Doctor maybe says a classic series story, or a Chibnall era story, or a Moffat era story as a suggestion, and the fans are like, Blink. Maybe one of them says Genesis of the Daleks, which would be a nice 50th anniversary nod to that story. Maybe if the Doctor might mention, say, Case of Androzani. What about the one where I run across a mud planet trying to save Perry? And one of them's like, "Oh, that's my second favourite." Maybe the Genesis one. But yeah, but apart from that, because I think they could have done that. As funny as it is having all 3 of them say Blink, because of course it's bloody Blink. Not that that's a bad thing, of course. I love Blink as well. My favourite 10th Doctor story, one of the best stories of the revival. Yeah. And all 3 of them saying it, despite the Doctor saying, "What about these other adventures?" Is really funny. Although it would be more fun if there was that one person saying another story, because not everybody is the exact same. But I do understand the joke. And I do appreciate the reference. Anyway, besides maybe mentioning some other episodes besides Blink, or other 15th Doctor RTD2 episodes, like I said, could have some more. Could have had a classic. Could have the Moffat. Could have had a Chibnall, or some classics actually, because that covers a bigger spectrum actually. Besides that, fantastic scene, and I loved the emotion. Also, I actually liked the 11th Doctor music being present. I know some people are like, "Why is there 11th Doctor music playing?" My question is, why not? Especially, I think it's Sad Man in a Box, which is a version of A Madman in a Box, both from Series 5, and that's playing in this scene. I thought it was regeneration music. I thought it was a regeneration scene, or other big emotional moments. I think it's the scene where the music's from the scene in Big Bang where he's flying the Pandorica into the Big Bang itself to create Big Bang 2. But I loved that music being played here because it felt like that gravitas moment, like a regeneration scene, or the Pandorica flying into Big Bang 2. So I'm happy with the 11th Doctor music being used here. I think it's fine. We also get some other really great new tracks, like Mr. Ring-a-Ding's song is so good. I'm looking forward to the next BBC Proms having that play. Like last one they had, There's Always a Twist at the end. Abigail's song in the 2010 one. The 2006 concert having the 2 Christmas special songs, which I think were also played for the 2008 Proms, at least Song for 10. Not to say that there will be a Proms this year for Doctor Who. I think we were lucky enough to get one last year, after 11 years. But next time they'll do one, this has to be new. This has to be played at some point. I think maybe the last act could be the weakest part of the story, with the climax, as once the Doctor and Belinda escape, because they discover that tearing and burning the film damages it, and of course after a little clue from Lux earlier on in the episode, they know that to burn the film reels would then cause an explosion so that sunlight can hit Mr. Ringerding to make him big. Mr. Ringerding, also noticing the Doctor healing his burnt hand with the excess regeneration energy, with his spare regeneration energy. He says from the bi-regeneration, but at this point the Doctor can just heal himself or herself at any point. Even the 11th Doctor, when a year later we established they were the last of the regeneration cycle before getting a new set of regeneration lives. We didn't know about the timeless child stuff at that point, and even then, the new 13 regenerations could have been capped. Anyway, so let's just say that 11 was in fact the very last incarnation till that new regeneration cycle. So then again, he still had some regeneration energy left to heal River Song's wrist. And the 12th Doctor also did a bit of that as well. So at this point in time, it doesn't even need the excuse of the bi-regeneration. The Doctor can just heal himself or somebody else with the regeneration energy just anyway. But this also serves as a plot purpose because Mr. Ringerding then realizes he can get the Doctor's regeneration energy and use it to make himself bigger and absorb all the light so that he can become this great big god of light. But Belinda and Mr. Pi are able to burn some reels and cause an explosion so that sunlight can cause Mr. Ringerding to slash Lux to get bigger and become light, which I suppose was a satisfying conclusion to his character. By the way, do we establish that Mr. Pi was killed in the explosion? Because I think that's what it's going for, but it's not entirely made clear. And they don't, at the end, are like, oh, what about Mr. Pi? Did he make it, or did he get caught in the explosion? I'm sorry, he's gone. Sort of a situation. We don't really get either of that. So I think with Mr. Pi, I think they could have had a couple seconds to say, unfortunately, Mr. Pi didn't quite make it out, but he was a hero at the very end. At the very least, if we're going to say he died in the explosion, maybe Belinda could have said something about Mr. Pi sacrificing himself to save the day or something. Which is another character to add to the Doctor's list of characters who die in his name or to help save the day. But this is probably the one where it's the least clear about it. I think he is supposed to be dead. He's gone to meet his dead wife in heaven. But again, this is probably the one where it's probably one of the ones where it's the least clear what happened. Well, I say least clear specifically because we can presume he got blown up, but specifically, did he make it out? Unless another episode is going to say so later, that is, and retroactively fix this. But until then or otherwise, it would have been nice to know for certain. I did like Mr. Pi as a supporting character as well. I understand some people might think his motivation for staying there because his wife is dead and Mr. Ringerding's sort of brought her back, a projection of her through the film reel. He sort of brought her back through that. I can understand people who think that's not the best character motivation for him to just sticking around to keep an eye on Mr. Ringerding / Lux, but I think it's perfectly fine and valid. Because why else would Mr. Ringerding / Lux have kept him around, kept him alive, and got him to play all those films? Like, other than the threat of him also joining the other 15 people in the celluloid who do also come back, they're all released. This isn't one of the really nasty, dark, and grim stories like, say, Torchwood would do. This is family entertainment. Of course, there's going to be a happy ending. Besides Lux and Mr. Pi, everybody else is okay. So, happy ending at the end. But yeah, back to my point with Mr. Pi. I think his motivation is perfectly valid for him staying where he is, because the only other reason would be, apart from being evil and joining Lux in his schemes, like, oh, I'll be your assistant or whatever, or begging for his life or whatnot. The only other thing is that his Lux kind of threatens him, sort of kind of deal. A bit like The Wire and in The Idiot's Lantern. So I kind of appreciate the giving him a more personal motivation and gets him to stay at his own choice, whilst also knowing that Lux isn't is a bit of a bad person. But if he keeps him to the cinema, nobody else gets hurt if they don't come in. But unfortunately, if anyone comes in, sort of free game. Also, Mrs. Flood appears at the end. Possibly her weakest appearance so far. She just turns up and barges between a few people to have a couple of cryptic words. As great as it is to see her in such a fabulous costume, darling, which, funny enough, actually looks a lot like Sunshine Sally's from the Mr. Ring-a-Ding cartoon at the start. I wonder if that's intentional, similar to her wearing costumes like past companions from the series in previous episodes. I think that theory would absolutely be confirmed if she wore Adric's costume. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Or even Ace's. Now that would be wicked. Okay, to wrap this review up. So Lux was an exciting and brilliant and expertly made episode with a genius idea at the center of it and other genius ideas around it. Maybe it kind of stumbles a little bit towards the end, but it's not too stumbly. It's more like when Mr. Ring-a-Ding's walking up those stairs and saying, "Oh, I was so big when I arrived. I should never have learnt perspective." So it's more like the Mr. Ring-a-Ding lugging himself up the stairs stumble rather than a tumble and fall sort of one. But still a satisfactory ending and a otherwise fantastic episode, an absolutely incredible one. Amazing animation and amazing performances, and also amazing performances from the Doctor and Belinda. I really like how they also did the Cheetah Gatwind Vara de Safu, especially when they were in the cartoon. They were putting on some American and Jamaican accents. Well, the Doctor Jamaican accent at one point. I liked how they played around with that. So, yeah, amazing performances across the board, but especially from Ncuti, Varada, and Alan Cumming, who is the MVP of the series so far. I mean, we've only had 3 episodes if you count the Christmas special, 2 if you don't. But Alan Cumming, as well as Varada Safu as the new companion, are the MVPs of the series. Sorry, Manny, you were physically and visually stunning, and this is coming from me, who's a heterosexual man. But like I said in my own review of Robot Revolution, he does look pretty good. And if we did include the Christmas special, I did like Anita as well. But when all is said and done, besides our lead 2 performers, Ncuti Gatwa and Varada Safu, as the Doctor and Belinda Chandra, the MVP of Season 2, Series 15, Season 41, is Mr. Ring-a-Ding, played by Alan Cumming, at this point in time of the series. Brilliant visuals, brilliant direction, brilliant structure, great meta commentary, and with the scene which is a love letter to the fans, whilst also having poking a bit of fun at them as well, which, to be fair, we kind of deserve it at this point. But also it's done in a kind of but we still kind of love most of you fashion. So, and sort of serves as a mini sequel to Love and Monsters in that way, where that was also a love letter to the fans in sort of a reflection sort of way, but of the fans of 2005-6 Doctor Who, whilst this one is of 2024-25 Who. But yeah, I think that's still handled really well. And yeah, the first 2/3 is incredible. Brilliant stuff, brilliant setup, brilliant middle point, and good ending. Good wrap up in the final act, and some brilliant stuff. I will be giving Lux a. This may sound very, very high, especially since I mentioned that the ending kind of stumbles a little, but not too much. But despite that, it does sound like a bit of a nitpick at the very least. I'm still going to give this story a 10 out of 10. Yep, this story is fantastic. This absolutely incredible, easily the best story of Ncuti Gatwa's era so far. Even though I did love Rogue, I thought that one was a really great story as well. That one's got a few more nitpicks than this one, though. This one, at the very least, even though that ending sort of stumbles, it's still really freaking good. But most of it is like top tier quality, especially when it comes to the animation elements and Mr. Ringerding's performance, both visually and in the voice. Yeah, he's going to be my new most quotable character. Was the Toymaker, now it's Mr. Ringerding. Don't make me laugh. Actually, I do, because it was also very funny. This was such a great story. Best story of RTD2 era so far, after Wild Blue Yonder, in my opinion. And since I got to review my 3 favourite episodes of this era so far on this channel, I'm very happy. So, that's it from me. Thank you for watching this review, and I'll see you next time in my next video, but come back next week, or whenever it comes out, for Jerry the Meerkat's review of The Well. He will see you all next time. Goodbye.